Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of Nothing Agreed. Back with the boys, BTWB. Barron, this is recorded after Thursday night's football game. First of all, how are you doing today? You're a winner. You're a winner. So how are you doing?
I'm good. That's all I care about is winning. That's all the Philadelphia Eagles care about is winning. And I thought it was the first good game back. I don't know about the Falcons, but the Eagles famously don't play people in the preseason or their starters. So this is to the starters. I feel like the preseason game, and I feel like that's fine. I feel like it's a good opponent to go up against. But yeah, I feel like I'll let you get your thoughts and remarks about the game out first because I probably have a lot more to say about it than you do.
Facts,
So
yeah.
take it away.
I feel like the lightning delay, the very stupid lightning delay, not stupid in terms of it's stupid that they checked on people's safety. That's very important. But stupid as in I wish it didn't happen. I feel like everything before the lightning delay was actually the football game. Because after lightning delay
Mm-hmm.
was punt, 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 turnover and downs game. So I want to talk about before the lightning delay.
Boom.
Um, of course, all four quarters matter, but I felt like that was actually the game. Um, the Cowboys offense impressed me the most. That's what I gotta say. Cowboys offense
Yes.
impressed me the most. Quinyon Mitchell's PFF grade cannot be guarding people. That's very important here. CeeDee Lamb was cooking. Dak Prescott, he didn't find the end zone, but they had some good, comfortable drives, which was nice. Some good shots as well. They impressed me the most out of anybody in this football game. Um, that's what I have to say because I thought this was going to be. I had Eagles covering the spread. I had them at 6.5. They sold me. Screw the Eagles. Um, but I thought they were going to win that one by bit like a two touchdown minimum. Actually, I thought it was going to be like a 28-14 or a little
Mm-hmm.
more. So that was impressive for the Cowboys to actually make this a football game. And technically, it was a football game all four quarters. It came down to their final drive.
Yep.
Um, the Eagles offense did not surprise me in terms of that's what I'm used to their output being. What did surprise me is that their top two receivers, their output was not it at all. And there is no team in the league. So this is a massive compliment for y'all. There's a no team in the league where you can go, yeah, my wide receiver one had 8 yards, my wide receiver two had like 15 yards, and we win the football game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's not many teams at all can say that. The only team maybe I can say that for is the Ravens because if Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson just dominate the ground game, you need a quarterback and a running back that have both dominant games. That's what can
I
happen,
feel like you could.
and that's what it felt.
I feel like you could also maybe
Mm.
argue that for the Chiefs or the Bills as well, depending on how that goes.
The Bills, I feel like just with their it's a little and the Chiefs as well, just because some of the options they have, which are not like as good, which is right, but I feel like they don't have a dominant running back. James
It's
Cook is
true.
good, Pacheco's good, but they're not dominant running backs. Saquon
It's
and
true.
Derrick Henry is the 1 and 2 of the league.
I feel that
I mean,
when
even like
paired
the
when
Falcons.
paired with a dynamic quarterback and
Exactly. The Falcons
rushing.
and Bijan, but Michael Penix isn't a runner. Like those are all your top three backs in the league. Maybe Christian McCaffrey you can throw in there as
Well, I
well.
think I
Again,
think another good example is over in Detroit. Look at Jameer Gibbs. Jared Goff has not an ounce of mobility in him, so their rushing attacks very. While it's very good, it's very one-sided. As if we're
yeah.
running the ball, it's getting handed off.
So it's very tough for that to be what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, that's what happened, and the Eagles won the football game,
Yep.
and that I am not surprised about. Of course, I think almost everyone in the world had Eagles to win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah,
That's
that's
right.
it. It just was a not clean football game that doesn't have
Not
much
at all.
attitude other than welcome back to our favorite 5 months of the year, Baron. It felt
Yep.
like a welcome back with a lightning delay 2 years in a row, 2 years now in a row.
Yeah, I had a great night. Game was great. But let's talk about it. Right? Why was this game close? The best defensive player on the field for both teams, now that Michael Parsons is gone, was thrown out of the game before he even got to take a snap. Now, let's talk about that real quick. What Jalen Carter did was terrible, disgusting, and uncalled for. Was he provoked? That's the question. Was it? Did it still warrant a response like that? No. It's still unacceptable. absolutely something that cannot happen ever again. He's probably going to get a lengthy suspension for this. Not like 6 games, but he's not sitting out just this one game. I can tell you that. They're going to crack down on that. So that sucks, especially because we have to go and play the Chiefs week 2, and we're probably not going to have Jalen Carter for that. So and honestly, we'll talk about this more closer to that game, but I'm a little more worried about that game now than I was because that was our best defensive player. He's gonna be one of the best. I said last episode he's probably gonna finish the season as a top 3 defensive tackle in the league. He's that good. The only positive way I can spin this in my head, Brooks, is that maybe hopefully that this warrants less money into his contract extension. That maybe they can cut out another 10 million and we can resort that
Nah.
somewhere else. Hopefully, but we'll see what happens. But yes, losing Jalen Carter, that is a huge blow before the game even starts. And I honestly, in my mind, granted, I don't think the defense played perfectly. We'll talk about the other hole in the defense in a second. But I don't think they would have been as effective on the ground running the ball if Jalen Carter was there in the middle. And honestly, I
Mm.
think they would have had harder time blocking for Dak Prescott if Jalen Carter was in the game as well. I think someone said it on a talk show this morning that had on in the background, but it was a very good point. Jalen Carter, while he's there, he might not be sacking the quarterback every play or causing the hurry, but he's one of those guys on the defensive line. You have to double team him. You can't leave him one-on-one. So that leaves everyone else on the line in a one-on-one situation. And when you have guys in those situations that can win, that's when his impact is seen. So we didn't have that impact, but I do also want to shout out Jordan Davis, Moro Ajomo, and Byron Young. I like the defensive tackle depth. That they stepped up. I thought they could have done better, but there was moments where they had hands on Dak Prescott. I wish they would have brought him to the ground, but they still played very well for being put in the position that they were put in. So I wanted to shout them out. But yes, let's talk about the Cowboys offense. I thought they played very well from what I was expecting to happen. Javonte Williams is a player I've loved since college. I've always loved UNC. Parents went there, blah blah blah. But I've always loved Javonte Williams. It pained me the day to see that he signed with the Cowboys, and it pained me to watch him run all over us yesterday. But
Two plus tutties.
2+ tutties. I am happy he's on my fantasy bench. He might be seeing some love next week, but I thought he looked really good. I don't know, seriously. I thought he looked good. I thought the Cowboys rushing offense, granted, you have to remember Jalen Carter was not in the game, but I still thought it looked pretty good for the most part. I did not think they would be able to run the ball as well as they did. Even with Jalen Carter out, I still thought it was going to be a little harder for them, but they did a pretty good job. And honestly, I mean, like you alluded to, the passing offense was great. Dak Prescott looked really good. They probably would have won that game if CeeDee Lamb knew how to catch. So that's one big
Facts.
takeaway. But let's talk about the Eagles' offense and what your point. You said how AJ Brown he had 1 catch for 8 yards. I have him in 2 fantasy leagues, so that really sucks for me.
Yep.
Yeah, Devontae Smith had like 15 yards. I see that as a really good thing because we all remember in the Super Bowl, right? Jalen Hurts threw for 350 yards. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith had a bunch of receiving yards. Both had a touchdown each. The passing offense was electric in that Super Bowl, right? And why was that? That's because the Chiefs loaded in the box. They were not going to let Saquon Barkley stop them, and that'll freed up the outside. The Cowboys kind of did the opposite. They have 2 pretty good corners in Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs. They're not scrubs or anything. Um, and yeah, they didn't make the Eagles need to throw the football to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. You saw Jahan Dotson had a few good looks and he got open for a big one. Dallas Goedert caught 7 balls all in the middle of the field. So to me, it seemed like they were trying to stop Saquon Barkley and they were trying to stop AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. And like you said, I said it last time, we are so deep that it doesn't matter because someone will get open. Dallas Goedert was open in the middle for most of the game. You can't leave John Dotson on a go route by himself with no safety help, or we're going to take the top off the defense. So even Will Shipley got a screen pass in the flat and took that for like 15, 16 yards. So it's just like there's gonna be when you're in an offense like this, you're not always gonna get your side of the ball. Like AJ Brown,
Mhm.
one target, one catch, 8 yards. That's great because most of the game they were trying on stopping him, and that frees up the game for everyone else. I think Jalen Hurts, statistically, it won't show it because he only rushed for like 68 yards and threw for 158. But in terms of his decision making and his processing, I think that was one of the best games I've ever seen him play. And that makes me really excited for the future of this season because if he has that sort of mindset and that confidence to make the right play, then he's going to get 350 passing yards when a team loads the box again, or he's going to get 150 rushing yards when no one puts a spy on him and just wants to cover the deep area. I thought he looked great last night, and I want to give credit. I thought the offensive coordinator looked awesome. I don't think this is going to be another Brian Johnson situation, thank God, because I was tired of losing sleep over that. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm
Okay.
excited for this season. I know a lot of people are talking about the Eagles, like, oh, we got to be better. You got to step up. This wasn't pretty football, and you're right, it wasn't pretty football. But kind of like what I said earlier, this kind of is like a preseason game for them. Starters don't play in the preseason, so once they pick up their stride, I think they're going to be fine. I don't know if they're going to win next week, but they're definitely on the right track to go back to back in my eyes.
Still a lot of concerns for me, though. I mean, watching that game and seeing the Cowboys kind of glance all over you a little bit on offense still gives me a little concern. I know Jalen Carter's out, but that's just one name, you know? So it is a little tough seeing that happen because that's a team that, in my opinion, a lot more people have them missing the playoffs than making the playoffs.
I
So
agree, but let's put it this way too, Brooks. Is Jalen Carter not a game wrecker of a player?
he can be.
Right.
He's
Would you
not.
say
He's not. But he's not like. I don't want to coin a Madden term. I wouldn't call him an X factor on defense, though. Like I wouldn't call him
I
like
would, I would, but that's fine. I mean, I think after this season he'll prove that. But
he could. Yeah.
but we could all agree Micah Parsons was one, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Jalen Hurts never ran the football like that against the Cowboys before last night, and I think there's
It
one
is.
clear reason for that. So, well, yes, I think one player. Well, while it is one name, I do think that one name makes a big difference, and especially in this instance, just bringing that presence of a guy you have to double team. Like the guy who had to take his place, Mora Jomo, is noticeably like 75 pounds lighter than him. He didn't get double teamed once all game. That's just the kind of
Well,
difference in player. I
maybe
think it's a difference.
so. I think Dak listened to our podcast,
You're probably right.
um, because he heard that Jalen Carter is the Tyler Booker killer, and he immediately antagonized him and got him thrown out the game.
You're right.
So that was he sniped that and
You're
got rid
right.
of it. You know? Look
You're
at him
right.
go.
Shout out
Um,
Dak Prescott for tuning in.
but win for them.
Yeah,
Congratulations, you've
it's
started your season with a
all that
win. You
matters.
start
All that
early.
matters. Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni are both 5-0 in the season openers.
Nice. There you go. Congratulations. Um, let's move to Friday's game.
Okay,
Friday,
tonight's game.
tonight's game. Chiefs Chargers. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, let's just get into the crux of it. Last time we were on the
Yes.
pod, you picked the Chargers. I
Mm-hmm.
picked the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to change your prediction at all? Because I'm gonna stick with those boys in the red and white.
Um. Well, again, to clarify, personally, this game could go either way for me. But for the sake of disagreement
Devil's advocate.
and
Okay.
the name of the wonderful show that you are listening to, I'm going to take the Chargers. And let me explain why. This is a football team that has a ground and pound identity. I think those teams usually those are the sorts of schemes that you have to beat yourself to lose football games rather beat the other team. I feel like because it's pretty simple football. You play good defense, you don't let them score, and you take care of the football. You're probably going to win games. I like the way they play football. I like Jim Harbaugh. Big question mark, at least on offense, is what is this passing offense going to look like this season? Keenan Allen and Lad McConkey are going to be your 1 and 2. Assume don't know who's going to be 1, who's going to be 2, if they want to use Lad out of the slot, whatnot. But yeah, I think that's what it's ultimately going to come down to is can we protect Justin Herbert when it's time to throw the football, and can we get these guys open for him to throw to? There's no doubt that the talent of being a top 5 quarterback in this league is there for Justin Herbert. He just hasn't proven it yet. So he needs to kind of prove it. I feel like we see the flashes. We know his rookie campaign was electric, but I mean, what has he done since then? Just put up 2 terrible playoff performances. And yeah, so I hope they get it done tonight. I want to see them get it done. Another part of me does not want the Chiefs losing before they go back home for their season opener, because again, we play the Chiefs next week. But let's talk about the Chiefs. That offensive line, they were terrible in the Super Bowl. We can agree that, right? Terrible. I mean, the Eagles didn't blitz once, and they got 6 sacks and a forced fumble. So, and there's people out there are arguing that it got worse this offseason. They lost that one tackle to the Bears, and now they have a rookie replacing him. Yeah, I mean, how confident are you in a rookie offensive tackle protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side? I feel like he's going to be fine, but again, he's a rookie. He's going to have his rookie moments. So I'm a little worried about how that's going to hold up for the Chiefs. Maybe not in this game, but throughout the season at least. They don't have Rashee Rice for the first 6 games of the season, who is clearly their best receiver in that offense, in that room. So what does Patrick Mahomes do with these pass catchers that he has until then? There's some good names in there. I think D-Hop's not still there, is he? He's on the Ravens, right?
Yeah, he's not there.
Yeah, he's on the Ravens. But they have
too.
Yeah, they got Hollywood Brown. What's his name?
Hollywood Brown.
The guy from Texas. Xavier Worthy.
Yep.
I don't know who else is there, to be honest. But Travis Kelce. We'll see what he can do.
He's going off tonight.
He's engaged, so I mean, you're not high on that. You're not high on that, so.
No, you're trying to talk me out of it. I drafted him in 2 out of 3 of my fantasy leagues. He's going off.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's my tight end. That's my tight end in my serious league.
He's retiring.
So,
he's retiring, Brooks.
Stop it, big dog.
You cooked.
They still have Juju.
Oh, thank God. So yeah, I think, but defensively, the Chiefs should be good. We know they're gonna have a good defense. So I guess the question of this game to me is, can Patrick Mahomes do enough with what his defense gives him to overcome the Chargers? I think that's the key.
That is question of the game, and I think ultimately that will be yes. He always finds a way to do it. I know you're going to make the Super Bowl, but he always finds a way in crunch time, clutch time to get it done. I mean, it's still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So I personally like him. And with the weapons he has, it's not horrible. The gadget plays you can do with Xavier Worthy and his speed. You still have your blanket man in Kelce, right? And then you also have Hollywood Brown, who's a formidable receiver. I think it works. Isaiah Pacheco on the ground. We'll see how much the ground game can cover for them. But I like the options. I know it's not star power. I'm not going to call Travis Kelce a star right now because, of course, he is on the very end of his career. Mm-hmm. But it's not the worst core in the league. It's definitely mid. But with Mahomes throwing you the football, he can do some fun plays with it. So I like Mahomes in this. I feel like Chris Collinsworth right now, but I like Mahomes.
God. Yeah, I'm just not sold on. I mean, think about it. Right now, their wide receiver room is a wide receiver by committee. Their running back room is a running back by committee. And honestly, by the halfway through the season, Noah Gray and Travis Kelce are probably going to be on the same level, so that room might be a committee as well. So when you have all of these, and again, depth is good. Like, you want to have good players that go deep, but they don't have any really standout offensive players to help Patrick Mahomes out, I feel like. And granted, you look back when Travis Kelce was at the height of his game and they had Tyreek Hill, those were the days when you were like, oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. No team's messing with the Chiefs. They're going to the Super Bowl. And it was a big shock to see them get blown out by the Buccaneers and Tom Brady back in that Super Bowl. But I don't know. I feel like the last 2 years, national discourse is Patrick Mahomes has been winning close. It's been a lot of one-score games. I think the statistic last year was in 5 out of the 6 games he played against divisional opponents, he won every game, which is very impressive fact in of
Mhm.
itself. But out of the 5 of those 6 games, each one of those were a one-score game. And 2 of them came down to the last play where he kind of got lucky. You remember the Broncos missed or the blocked field goal, and then the Raiders missed that field goal.
Yeah,
So
but
and we had the
but
whole. Well, hold on. We had that whole narrative with Chiefs magic, right, and all of that, and
still
then
true, still true.
still true, right? But we did just have this whole offseason scandal with the referees favoring the Chiefs. So we'll see how their officiating goes this season. But
Mhm.
I would like to point out something, Brooks. Do you remember in 2022 when the Minnesota Vikings won their division and went to the playoffs and lost in the first round to the New York Giants?
First
You
of all,
you remember that season?
first
Hold
of
on.
all, this no. Let me jump in 5 seconds.
Oh my
This
gosh.
referee thing with Kansas City, I looked it up, and it's all the Referees Union Association, Roger Goodell shutting it down. So you gotta send me this referee thing you're talking about.
All
But
right,
go on.
I'll send it to you later. But do you remember in the what's it called? Yeah, the 2022 season when the Vikings won their division, went to the playoffs, and they lost in the first round to the Giants.
Yeah, the Kirk Cousins, they were the three
Yeah,
seed, 6 seed.
yeah.
Yep.
And so do you remember how the whole narrative of, or not narrative, but there was that one stat on the Vikings is you flipped every yeah, they were like
One
the
score
first, yeah,
game,
the
they
one
would
scored
be
games.
yeah.
They were the worst team in
That's
the
last
league
year
or
for the
something like
Chiefs
that.
too. Yeah.
What happened to the Vikings those following couple seasons? Take out last season. I'm not gonna say they fell like to the bottom of the NFC, but they
Yeah, they
definitely.
didn't.
I mean, they were probably they were up
They
and
didn't they
down.
didn't go like this. They didn't go like this. They definitely hit a parabola
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like an obstacle,
I'm not
or a
saying.
U shape.
Yeah,
Because last season they were one of the best
yeah.
teams in the NFL.
I know.
So
I'm not saying that, but I'm still saying. But again, they made changes to get to that point as well. Remember, they didn't have Kirk Cousins. Brought in a new quarterback. They brought in
yep.
new receivers. They made changes. But my point being, for those teams that had a good season, winning close, and then the next season they don't really get that much better. And again, I know it's Patrick Mahomes. I'm just suggesting the idea. It might not be crazy to see the Chiefs not be as good this season.
Maybe, but they're still going to be probably, in my opinion, division winners. They always roll through that division. They have the
Mm-hmm.
one of the best. They have the best quarterback in the league in Patrick Mahomes,
Mm-hmm.
and that is always a big
So
advantage.
yeah, that's arguable, but yes,
Okay, who's better?
you could argue Josh Allen.
Okay, I'll take Patrick Mahomes. I'll
Fine,
take.
I would
I
take him
think.
as
I
well.
think. I think a majority of people would take Patrick Mahomes. And you still have Andy Reid as your head coach, which is probably one of the best head coaches you can have. And you still have Spag as your defense coordinator, one of the best defense coordinators, and you still have a great defense. That offense maybe can improve a little, but when Rashid Rice comes back, it'll improve. And that team is built to contend, okay? That team will contend. So this is a team that will contend. That is it for my Chiefs talk. They will win in Sao Paulo. If they don't, honestly, I won't be surprised, but I definitely will wonder why they lost. I would wonder what the game factor was made them lost or lose.
My my whole thing with the Chiefs this season is what can they do, or can they still be as good when they run into teams that are clearly far and away have more talent than them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're gonna get a big serving size of that week too when they host the Eagles. And yeah, basically how if we have all of these holes, at least let's talk about this on offense right now. If we have all these holes, what can we do to mitigate or to get ourselves in a position to compete or in a good position to compete this postseason with the offense that we have this season? Because they don't have a great schedule. A lot of people are very high on Denver this season. We'll talk about them here in
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. But I mean, people are also high on the Chargers. I mean, I feel like I've seen a lot of people saying these last few weeks, if any season the Chiefs are not going to win their division, it's this one. So to me, they have to just show that they can continue that success with what they've lost. So
We'll see what happens. I'm still going to take them though. So let's move to Sunday night because I only have so much time. So let's move not Sunday night, but let's move to Sunday.
Uh-huh.
We'll get to Sunday night in a second. But do you want to fly through each game or do you want to specifically highlight a couple?
Yeah, Cardinals Saints, that's a stinker. We don't need to talk about that one. Dolphins
I'll
Colts.
say this. I'll say this though. If there's one team that would lose to the Saints, it would be the Cardinals.
It's
Next,
true. It's true. Dolphins Colts, also kind of a
should be,
stinker.
should be a good one. It's two teams that are mid but both interesting. Will you call the Dolphins fall off? Will the Dolphins fall off? Will Daniel Jones and the Colts get it done? What are we going to see from each team there?
Yeah, I guess that's a good preview. Raiders Patriots. Patriots should beat them.
But good preview of what the Patriots defense in Vrabel and Drake May's second year of Stephon Diggs looks like.
I
And
was about to say,
JT, Pete Carroll's first game, Geno Smith, is he still going to keep writing them off? Or Raiders, who always ruin careers, are going to go right back?
well, two things I can say about that game real quick. For the Raiders, Amari Cooper just retired. So
Yep.
kind of funny what made him lose his love of the game in 2 weeks over there in Las Vegas. So we'll see what kind of soul-sucking offense they throw out there. But we're excited to see what Ashton Genty can do. Patriots, you mentioned the defense. I think everyone's excited to kind of see this new Vamp Patriots. To me, Mike Vrabel under center, kind of the pieces, how much money they spent this offseason. I think that defense is going to be A-OK, probably going to be in the better half of defenses this year, probably top 10. The biggest question for the Patriots for me, you already said it though, is what does Drake May look like in year 2 and how much of a help can Stephon Diggs be for him? Hopefully a lot. I'm starting him in my flex. So let's see. Steelers, Jets. It's a revenge game for both quarterbacks, I guess.
Both revenge game quarterbacks. Steelers always start off strong. I think the spread has actually dropped to 2.5, maybe 3 still, but
it is at 2.5.
I'm still holding as the Steelers right now as my survivor pick this week.
Oh boy!
So,
all right.
Yeah. If not, I'm gonna switch to the Commanders. And if they lose, I'm gonna buy back in and pick the Broncos in the 4 o'clock slot.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's speak of the Commanders playing the Giants in Washington. I actually think that'll be a close game.
I agree as well. Russell Wilson starting at the helm for the Giants. We'll see how he can do. Neighbors just got moved to questionable.
That'll be interesting. To me, I think this is going to be more of the Giants' defense of kind of coming out. That defensive line, I think, is going to be the best in football. And I think they're going to be on Jane Daniels' ass all game. So we'll see what he can do with that. Panthers, Jaguars. This is one of the better games in the 1 o'clock.
I agree. Two teams who did not have Panthers actually did not have a horrible season last year. Jags were the second worst team in the league. And these are two teams that are looking to come up this season, that at least have the expectation to come up and make a sneaky dark horse run.
They actually weren't. They actually weren't the second worst team. They traded up for the second pick. They were the 5th worst team.
That's what it was. 5th worst. Browns were the 2nd worst. You're
right. Regardless, yes, Jaguars, both young teams trying to set their identity for the upcoming season. Bryce Young's trying to get it done in Carolina. It's starting to get to be that time for him, but it is absolutely that time for Trevor Lawrence. He has to have a good season, or we're going to be talking about his career in the NFL this offseason and whether it should continue. But I think he's going to do well. I also have him on a fantasy team. So, and yeah, I think everyone's also
starting it on my serious league. So,
but I think everyone.
So yeah,
that was good. But I think the biggest question from this game, everyone wants to know, is Travis Hunter going to be playing both ways?
Both sides of the ball.
We'll wait and find out. Browns Bengals. This is the second to last 1 o'clock game. To me, I think this is also the second best 1 o'clock game. I think the Bengals have had a slow start under Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. And I really think the Browns' defense is going to win them games this year. I still think Myles Garrett is the best defensive player in football. We talked about game wreckers earlier. He is absolutely a game wrecker. You probably have to triple team him some plays or else he's going to sack your quarterback. So, yeah, we'll see what he can do with that Bengals offensive line that's not that great, and see what Joe Burrow can do with his very expensive receivers. But, yeah, Bengals.
Yep, and now the best 1 o'clock game.
Okay.
Yep, Falcons, Bucks, the best 1 o'clock game. This divisional fight, week 1 in Atlanta. Both teams that are contending for their division. Bucks a favorite, but both teams with playoff aspirations in their heart.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. moving on. Falcons,
4 o'clock.
or yeah, 4 o'clock.
Unless you have something about the 1 o'clock Falcons game because you just said moving on.
Well,
So
I think the Buccaneers are. Anyway, it's 49ers Seahawks. This is a good game, in my opinion. Sam Darnold, that's a big. All right. You did it last year with two pretty good receivers, good coach. What can you do this season? I think the Seahawks also have a pretty good defense. Jackson Smith and Jigba is supposed to step up and be the guy this year. So we'll see what that. I think we'll be looking more to see what the Seahawks offense looks like. I think we know more or less what the defense will be like. We'll just be looking to see if they start hot or slow. 49ers did not have a good year last year, trying to sort of revitalize themselves after having a rough offseason, lost a lot of players.
both teams, I think, in my opinion, can either finish really bad or pretty good this year. So this is a big week 1 division game.
I agree. You're probably a lot higher on the 49ers than I am. Some of that might be out of spite, but I don't think Kyle Shanahan is that great of a head coach. As an offensive coordinator, he's great. Head coach, Brock Purdy, he's got to prove that he's worth the contract they kind of gave him. And yeah, you don't have the team around you you've had years prior, so let's see what you can do this season. And see if you really are that special guy that they took the chance on. But moving on to Titans Broncos, another good game. A lot of people are excited to see what the Broncos look like this season. We kind of alluded to it, but a lot of people are very high on them. Probably have the best defense coming into the season. Very, very good offensive line. I think the main thing is
people are high on.
Oh yeah, Cam Ward as well. But last point on the Broncos, I think the main question is what can those receivers do for them? And then looking at the other side of the ball, Cam Ward on the Titans, rookie first round pick. What can he and Calvin Ridley get done? Another good defense, good game. Moving on to the last 4 o'clock or second to last 4 o'clock game, Lions Packers. We'll see how much Micah Parsons plays that game.
Because that back injury.
There's rumors that he's not going to be in on obvious running situations and that he's really only going to be playing when it's obvious passing situations. But we'll see how much that affects the game, how much that bolsters that defense, and if he really does give the edge over the Lions. I think the biggest question for the Lions going into this game is what are you going to look like after losing both coordinators? The last time we saw a powerhouse lose both coordinators, they had a terrible season and lost in the first round. So hopefully that doesn't happen to them. We'll see what they can do. Last game of the 4 o'clock slate, Texans-Rams. This is a big game for C.J. Stroud. He had a bad season last year after a stellar freshman season. So now that he's on it's junior year, let's see what you can do. It's time to make your name for yourself. It's going to be bad if he has a slow start. They're going to be all over him. But I think he has the team around him to do it, and we'll see what he can get done. Other side of the ball, the Rams. We know what that defense is. They're going to be good. Sean McVay's a good coach. He's going to have them ready to play. What does Matthew Stafford still have left in the tank? What does Devontae Adams still have left in the tank? Can Puka Nacua create enough separation to help them out a lot? We'll see how that game looks. But the Sunday night game, the big game, Brooks.
There we go. Yeah.
Take it away.
Ravens, Bills. I'm on a time limit right now, so this should be fun. Ravens and Bills in Buffalo. Rematch of AFC divisional game. I have the Ravens in this one. I'm not going to lie. But we go to it. Lamar Jackson, MVP snub most likely from people, but multiple-time MVP. Josh Allen, last year's MVP. MVP's going at it. I have the Ravens. I think they'll get the job done. Specifically, Derrick Henry's going to have a big game.
It's a good call. I like the Bills. I think Josh Allen, talent-wise, is the best quarterback in football. I think he can really throw the rock anywhere he wants to. He can move wherever he wants to, and he can run over anyone he wants to. He's almost like a linebacker who can throw the ball 90 yards. So I think both those defenses are good, but I think he's going to be the ultimate X factor that sets the difference. And lastly, Monday Night Football, Vikings-Bears. Big question for both teams. What are your quarterbacks going to look like, right?
Exactly.
J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams.
Take that step. Is J.J. McCarthy going to be a good replacement his first year in after the injury? We'll see.
And then I guess it's also
most
rookie.
Excited for the Bears wide receivers. That is what I'm most excited to see.
I'm more excited for Ben Johnson. It's the first time as the head coach. I think he got a lot more coverage and praise over Glenn Johnson.
Mhm.
So I think
Glenn Johnson going to have his first game against the Steelers.
that's true, but I think there's more pressure on Brian, or not Brian, on Ben Johnson, if that makes any sense. Just because I feel like there's been more people have been talking about him, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and I think there's also a better historical record of defensive coordinators being head coaches than offensive coordinators becoming head coaches. So I think that's also a small factor. But yeah, excited to see what Ben Johnson can do with the Bears and if he can finally end Chicago's era of misery.
There you go. So, other than that, do you have anything else you want to add before we'll react to Week 1 slate after?
Yeah, fun fact: the Dallas Cowboys have the worst record in football right
They
now.
do. Then we can all laugh at them. So
Yep, so suck it.
that'll be another episode of Nothing Agreed. Week 1 will be right around the corner. We're going to be excited to watch. Thank you so much for listening. We'll get to the recap and peace.